Hi everyone, this is AJ and welcome back to the channel and welcome to my review for the latest episode of the Orville, Season 3, Episode 8. Let's get into it. Okay, so this episode here is called Midnight Blue. Yes, now, before I go any further, here's a warning for you. It speaks for itself, so you know what to do. I don't need to tell you. Maybe watch the episode first and then come back. You've had your warnings and now I'm into it. So this episode here, the Orville has been on quite a good hit at the moment, quite a good home run for episodes. It's going from strength to strength in its writing, and there's no exception in this episode here. This episode is the longest episode that we've actually been given to date, and this runs for nearly 1 hour and 27 minutes. That's feature length. That really is 2 episodes, essentially, double episodes. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't overstay its welcome this time around at all. There's so much going on in this episode that the time is allotted for it just works. The episode opens with Bortus and Kelly meeting up because Bortus has got issues raising Topa. In that Topa is interested in a male, in like having a boyfriend, but obviously doesn't want to speak to her father about it. So Bortus gets Kelly to go along and have a word. Anyway, so Kelly gives Topa some sound advice, and this leads to this very funny scene where Topa approaches Gordon. We come to find that Topa's actually got a crush on Gordon. But this happens in the engineering room. Gordon doesn't realise it, but everyone else does. And yeah, it's just, it's really good, really funny, brilliant stuff. Anyway, the main story for this is that we have the Moclan colony run by Havina, who we've been introduced to in previous historic episodes of the series. Moclan colony of females that's is allowed to exist by both the Moclans and overseen by the Moclans and the Union, who visit it from time to time just to make sure that no part of their treaty is being broken and this sort of a thing. And this is one of these visits. Kelly and Bortus go down and they take Topa with them. Topa's interested in visiting the colony because she has read the books that Havina has written and looks up to Havina as a role model. Obviously, you've got these Moclans down there as well. And what comes to pass is that Topa is kidnapped by the Moclans and taken to this secret outpost elsewhere, you know, some distance off through space, where she's ultimately tortured and all this sort of thing. At the same time as all this is going on, we've got the diplomatic side of it going on in the Union, where Havina has to come to terms with what she's done, whether she's going to stand up and admit to her crimes, because she's essentially tried to indoctrinate Topa into her revolution, because there's all this stuff going on where there's still this back door of her saving young Moclan females from Mokla, and she's tried to get Topa involved and given Topa certain information as to who is their contact is on Mokla, and codes that they communicate through and all this sort of a thing. And they want to use her on board the Orville as a go-between, because the Orville's technology will make it that much easier and this sort of thing. So it's this big grandiose episode, and it's got so it covers everything. You know, there's so much in this episode. You could go into some massive detailing in this. Like I said, you've got the dual stories going on. You've got a rescue mission with Kelly and Bortus together that leads to a moment where it looks like they're almost going to have a moment. And then, like I said, the political side of it, and it all intertwines so nicely. The beating that Topa gets is somewhat violent, somewhat graphic in a sense, as is Bortus's reaction to the individual that tortured Topher in a quite violent scene. Yes. Now, like I said, this episode, I don't know if this episode, it's very strongly written. I can't, there's a couple of flaws in the writing. Like, why would you leave your spaceships unlocked with the back bit down, the entrance and all that sort of thing? I don't get that, but there you go. That's just me nitpicking here. But the writing is superb. The acting is superb. You've got physical sets that look fantastic. You've got special effects. They outdo themselves on the special effects. They look fantastic in this episode. They're in the colourful cloud around this planet, and it just looks beautiful. The score to the episode, very, very strong. I don't know, there's been some very strong episodes, and this is up there as one of the strongest episodes. It's got some very emotional moments in it. It's got an emotional core to it. You see the return of Clyden at the end, all this sort of stuff. You've got bigger ramifications as well from this episode. Bigger ramifications in the Moklan race is ejected from the Union on a vote because of the torturing and the potential murder of this child, that everyone comes together to kick them out, even though they're one of their strongest allies against the robots and all this sort of stuff. It sets the show up and puts it in, the Union in a weaker place against any threats and all this sort of thing. And I'm gushing about it. It was really good. At first, when I saw that running time of 127 minutes, I was like, because in the past, even though it's been very good writing, it does feel that there's been some stuff stretched out to accommodate that runtime. But here it feels like, this is a double episode. It should have been a double episode, cut in the middle, 2 parts, but it's been put together as one episode, and it just runs, it just flows really nicely, and that's just my thoughts on it. I mean, there's so much to take in, it really is, and this episode just goes to prove that the Orville is going from strength to strength, and certainly deserves a season 4 if it's of this sort of calibre of writing and this sort of calibre of directing and editing and acting and special effects. I mean, this must have cost considerable amount of money to make for them, this episode, I will say that, but it's just fantastic. Now, what I'd really like to know is your thoughts on this episode, what you thought about it. Do you think it's a good episode? Do you think it's a bad episode? Were you caught up in the writing and in the story, or is it one of those ones that just didn't work for you? Either way, I'd love to hear, because we all have different opinions, and it's not about you're wrong. No, it's about accepting the opinions of other people, because it wouldn't be interesting if we didn't differ in opinion on stuff. So let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this episode. Not only that, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share the video, like, share, whatever you want to do with it. But the most important thing for me is the comments and the interaction. Interaction between me, the interaction between other people, bringing people together and having a nice, friendly discussion. And why not? Anyway, this is me. I'm done. I'm getting away now, because I've actually got to get into a work meeting any minute now. Hopefully I'll be able to edit this first. But I'll see you on the next one. I will be back next week for the next review of the next episode. Only 2 left, I believe, which is a shame, but it's been an enjoyable ride thus far. See you soon. Take care all, and have a fantastic day, whatever you're up to.